So we've taken the view that actually what we've had to do is to really tackle and understand the infrastructure. What is the environment within which we're trying to make D&I happen? What are the mechanisms that we use day to day to manage our organisations from a people and corporate point of view, and how do we build in and mainstream expectations around diversity within that? So we've put in place a much stronger approach to transparency and accountability. So we now publish all of our data about diversity and inclusion. To be fair, we published it before, but you had to have a degree in ONS and stats to be able to find it. But now we publish that data on our website. It's accessible to people. It's analysed data. It's not tables of data in the way that Simon showed. We too do that. But actually that's used directly in relation to the conversations around performance in the organisation. So at every level in the organisation, there are conversations advised by data and also wider intelligence. So what we've done is to build an assurance model. So we're building this assurance process where we ask every government department to identify what their plans are, what their strategies are, what their capability is to deliver it. Do they have the right teams in place? Do they need further skills development? So the job we do from the centre as Diversity Leads is really about facilitating people to be leading change at that local level. So of course our cultural shift has got to happen within that context. So again, trying to apply some blanket approach that is a one size fits all approach just isn't going to work. So the organic nature of how those culture shifts, those decisions are taken at that local level, and the ways in which staff, whether they're managers, whether they are local staff networks that exist, so we've got lots and lots of our diversity staff networks, and the community of engagement at that local process, or at that local level, is absolutely essential to understanding what the change is, owning that change, and then delivering that change. So what we've done is, rather than say this is your list of things that you can drop down and do, and here's a menu of really great ideas, what we've got is a menu of processes and ways in which you can develop your own ideas, because your own ideas will be based on some core things. So there are some, yes, you need to do some training, there's possibly some really great events you can do. Here's a pack that you can use to start your conversation about inclusion or diversity. But actually how you apply it, how you use those tools is way more important than the tool itself. So, for example, we have produced a whole range of slide packs that you can use in your staff meetings or team away days. You can size them from anywhere from 15 minutes conversation in a team meeting all the way through to, actually, I want to fill a 2-hour slot in our team away day, and I really want us to have a big conversation about diversity, and I really want us to have that conversation easily. We've got these tools and packs that people can use, but actually part of the utilisation of that tool is how you prepare to have that conversation, how you engage people and help them own that conversation. And there isn't this, we've got to move away from the idea that there's this hierarchy of issues of discrimination. So gender at the top, then it's race, then it's maybe disability, and then you have a bit of a bun fight as to what comes next. That can't be how it works. And we're moving into intersectionality, and with the move into intersectionality and understanding, I for one come from a low socioeconomic background, and you wouldn't know that, but you know I'm a woman and from an ethnic minority background. And actually some of those sort of intersections actually are far more powerful and meaningful. So the barriers for me in my career have been far more about my socioeconomic background than they've been about my race or my gender. And it's those sorts of challenges and understandings that are far more granular, far more nuanced. So 3 years ago when I first did it, I asked a question of all of our civil servants: how inclusive, do you think that we're inclusive? Simple question. Most people are like, well, we'd get somewhere between 50 and 60% of people saying, yes, we are mostly or very inclusive. That's kind of where we were. This year, 98%, between 95 and 98% said we are mostly or absolutely inclusive. And when we asked them why, well, because we can talk about it. And I don't feel uncomfortable because I can talk about, I work part-time. That means that I am included. From an ethnic minority background, I wear a hijab. I don't work on Fridays because of Shabbat. I do lots of other things in my life. I can be me at work in a way that I didn't feel I could 2 years ago. And just that communication, that conversation, making it something that people can feel that they own, I think has been the shift in that.